Hello everyone, it's Silvia from Fairies Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have a look at all of the tarot and oracle decks that have come into my collection in the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a long video because I'm surrounded by decks right now, so I highly recommend you grab a drink or a snack because we're gonna be here for long. So let's start with this one. This is an indie deck, and it was actually a Kickstarter campaign from I think the end of last year, the Starseeker Oracle by Nikki Ferrada. And if this name sounds familiar to you, it's because Nikki also created a tarot deck. And I've got that deck as well. So it's the Starseeker Tarot. As you can see, even the production is rather similar. We have the same type of box, which I really like, by the way. It's a very velvety kind of feel to it. And it opens up like this. And it comes with the certificate of authenticity. Now, I have to say, I did not back the Kickstarter. I actually grabbed this from a fellow tarot lover from a group, a Facebook group here in Australia. So it's an indie deck, as I was saying. It's a really, really beautiful deck. I love the Starseeker Tarot so much that I was this close to backing the Kickstarter, but then at the end I didn't because I happened to back a lot of Kickstarters last year, and this year is going to be even more. So stay tuned because in probably a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to post a video in which I'm going to talk about Kickstarters only. Kickstarters that I really love from this year. I don't know what's going on, but I think that we've been really blessed with so much choice when it comes to creators. Producing these decks. So, with a great leap, you fly through the Seeker's portal. You walk the path following the stars. They guide you to your deepest truth. Okay, so it does have, I guess, that similar cosmic vibe of the Star Seeker Tarot, and I like the fact that look, it's still a relatively small kind of book, isn't it? But it does give you about the deck, a note from the creator. It is a smaller font, but I'm wearing my reading glasses today, so it's fine. I can read it. How to use the deck, and then we've got I think I saw meditation for connected and grounding. I think I saw also a couple of spreads asking for guidance. There you go. We got a couple of spreads here, which is always nice because I like to try these spreads whenever I receive a new deck, especially when it comes when it's an oracle deck, because I feel that with oracle decks, the creators have to go a little bit above and beyond the usual spreads. You know what I mean? If it's a tarot deck, they usually show you the 3 cards pulled, they show you the Celtic cross, perhaps the inverted horseshoe, but you know, when it's an oracle deck, they kind of have to come up with something very specific to their deck, and that tells me a lot about what moved them, what motivation they had originally in order to come out with the deck. And then we've got a full page for each and every card. We got a little bit of a description. And we've got keywords for the upright and the reverse. Now, I don't generally read reversals when it comes to oracle decks unless they've been conceived that way. For example, there's a recent deck by Travis McCary, which is called the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, which I presented in my channel a couple of times. And it literally is the combination of 2 of his previous decks. One of them is called the Occult Tarot, and it's all about demons, and one is called the Angel Tarot, and it's all about angels. And this time it's one deck, and it's got the upright part of the card with the angel and the lower bottom of the card with the demon. And so obviously it is designed to be shuffled in reversals. It's an oracle deck. I do read reversals in tarot, but I don't shuffle reversals, and I understand that that might be confusing. So basically, I do not shuffle, I do not seek reversals, I don't shuffle reversals, I don't mix the cards in such a way that I will have reversals. But in a spread, when you're a long time reader like I am, you kind of see you feel when a card needs to be read as reversed, with its reversed meaning rather than the upright meaning. Let me just zoom in a bit because, by the way, it's a gloomy day. So I'm still today in Australia. So I'm still trying to use natural light. But in case I see that it's not clear, I will definitely switch on a couple of artificial light. Just for you to know that in some cases, though, when you use artificial light, the colors of a deck through the lens may not be 100% as you see them in real life. But, at least you see them clearly. I love this deck. I saw it and I was really moved by it because some of these cards are very potent, they're very strong, they're intense. The Anguish card, I mean, look at this. There's this kind of black energy, dark energy coming straight out of the person's chest. And it's maybe the Anahata chakra, and it's such an important card to deal with sometimes. It's called Anguish. So I love that there are keywords in these cards. Or rather, is it titles or keywords? I mean, Anguish to me is more like a keyword, and with the Visionary is more like a title, because I imagine it's referring back to an archetype of this person that is dreaming. But it's a very easy kind of archetype to read, obviously. Burden, that's such an intense card. It's a Ten of Wands card, but because it chooses to focus on one of the keywords that you can associate with the Ten of Wands, it's a really strong card. Alone, the mirror, clearing, the past. Wow. So I really enjoy this deck. It's the masked one. I had a look. This is not a first impression. I actually had a look when I received it. What I wanted to check was the cardstock, because I have to say one thing about the Starseeker Tarot. At least my edition, I don't know whether there's been following editions that had a different kind of cardstock. So this one, the Oracle deck, has got a really smooth kind of finish, very velvety, and you could compare it to a rose petal finish. However, it's the newer rose petal finish, and it means that there has been let's say an additional step in the process of printing these cards, so they're actually very smooth. They don't glue together. Whereas when it comes to the Starseeker Tarot, I probably have an older edition. I don't even remember when I got it. And these cards, they have a fantastic feel to them as well. So the tactile experience is awesome. But they do tend to kind of stick together a little bit more rather than these ones. I'm not talking about, those very fast attempts at the velvety feel, at the rose petal feel. Off the top of my head, for example, the Healing Waves Tarot, the one that came out of the Indiegogo campaign, the cards really tend to stick one to the other. And it is one of those decks that it's actually very... Unfortunately, because it's out of print and it's very hard to find and people are willing to pay a lot of money for it, it is right now in my collection, it is considered a collectible item, so I tend not to use it as much as I would love to. And so these are the specs of a cardstock that the more you use it, the better it becomes, the experience becomes easier and easier with time. And so not using the Healing Waves means that every time that I pick it up, I can still feel how sticky the cards are. However, I just wanted to show you the how these two pair up together. It's kind of an obvious choice in the sense that it's got a lot of cards, by the way. It's a 64 cards deck, which is awesome. I applaud Nikki. That is a fantastic choice. I'm so very over, especially mass market producers when they come out with a deck with 30 cards, but they charge you the same amount of a deck that has 50. That's just, it's not enough for us. We love our cards. We love to see more of them. I don't understand why they don't produce more. And I'm referring to mostly Los Carabel Oracle decks. It's not their main line of production. Obviously, if you know Los Carabel, you will know that they produce 90% of their decks are tarot decks. But that doesn't excuse the fact that, you know, we want more cards. We just want more cards. And that they're actually kind of beautiful. Some of them are really, really, really beautiful. So obviously I'm just choosing this way of pairing them up together, but there's a number of ways you can do that. And I just see that now. Um, I did not get to this part of the deck in which there's actually sentences and messages here rather than images. And I'm actually on board with it because I'm thinking I can actually use these ones like if you have ever seen a chain reading. So you start with a card and then you pull other cards. I refer back to this one. And so this is an excellent setup for a chain reading. I don't know how many there are because to be honest with you, as I said, I bought it secondhand and there might be more, but it came non-ordered, which is absolutely fine. I'm just saying that I don't know how many of these message-only cards there are because they were not in orders. And so I'm just going to have to try and find out. I guess there's another one here. I am unafraid and free. It is a blessing to me. Wow, okay. I can see that even the messages are rather intense. I am passionate, I am determined, I am capable of creating anything I desire. I embrace the mysteries of life, I release the need to know. It is safe to trust myself. This one, I embrace the mysteries of life, I release the need to know. That is a massive trigger for me. I constantly battled against my need to know everything, to control everything because of anxiety, obviously, and trauma. And so, not knowing something and, you know, releasing that I don't know something is very hard for me. So, this might be something that I might actually tackle, that I might try and do in a reading. So what was I doing? Yes. So it's really beautiful. Obviously, you know, it's the same creator, it's the same art style. The decks look very similar. The cardstock feels very, very similar, although as I may say, this one is smoother. And it does give you this kind of really beautiful vibes, or probably also because of the colors. I tell you what, this is, well, oh, this is amazing. It's giving me some really, really strong feelings. I don't know if you can hear from my voice, but sometimes I'm a bit of a, you know, I don't have a poker face. I always tell everyone you can read everything I'm thinking just by looking at my face or probably just listening to the intonation of my voice. But wow, this is an amazing, amazing combo. And, you know, screw what I said before. I keep on saying I don't want to pair up two decks that are the same from the same author because it feels like I'm kind of cheating. Cheating in the sense that you don't really need to be Einstein in order to pair them up. But this is amazing. And you know what? Why not? I mean, if the creator has come out with another deck, they obviously had the original tarot deck in mind when they created the Oracle deck. And so this is also a way to honor them because I'm pairing them up together. I recognize that, you know, the creators made this effort and I'm honoring it. Oof. Oh, look at this, the map with the Ace of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. And the cup on the Ace of Cups actually looks like the hand on the map card. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but some of these cards have a different finish to the borders than others. You probably can't really see it. Let me see if I tilt the cards this way. Probably not. I don't know, maybe you can see it a little bit here. So some of these cards, I wonder why, but they have a slightly glossier finish just on the borders, not on the main part of the card, and others don't, which makes me think that maybe I have to separate these ones as well. So maybe these ones are archetypes. I don't know. As I said, sorry about that. I did not do any kind of research on this deck. I just opened it to have a feel for the deck when it arrived yesterday. But when it comes to reading the guidebook, I actually just a very quick look. Amazing, absolutely amazing, these two decks. And I'm just trying to think about another deck that I want to pair it with because I have the impression that this will look really cool. Also, with the Mara Luna Tarot, which I have right here. So let me just put these cards here just to make it level again. By the way, the edging is a very beautiful mauve color, I would call it. I don't know, or lavender, actually lavender rather than mauve. It is really, really nice and very high quality, I have to say as well. So this is my Mara Luna Tarot, which I adore because this deck is so gentle, so kind. These are the backs, by the way. I actually really like them. And it's one of those decks that I use in very specific times. And I have to say, uh, this April is a bit of a struggle for me because Mercury retrograde is really being very particularly pesky in my life at the moment. And so things are not necessarily going the way they should. And I was through the month of March in which I thought, oh, that's great, you know, things are starting to look up again, and now it's like, nope. So I kind of feel like, okay, we come back to the gloomy months of January and February. January and February for a lot of people have been very difficult months this year. But anyway, onwards and upwards always. What do you think about these two? Let me know in the comments below. I think that we actually have a winner as well. I mean, I probably do prefer the Star Seeker Tarot, but I don't mind these two together. I think that there is this kind of conversation going on. It's not the same art style, but it's not completely different, and it blends in a good way. I really like this too. The color palette is also not too dissimilar. So we got ground between two sevens. Wow. So the numerologically speaking, the number 7 is the number in which you are forced to just settle one moment, take a break, perhaps take a step back from everything that you're doing, and reassess what you're doing. And most of the time, depending on the alchemical element of the suit, which the 7 is associated to, then you'll have differences in interpretation. Like, for example, the 7 of Swords is associated to the alchemical element of air. So obviously, when you got the 7 of Swords, this moment of reckoning, it's actually a difficult moment for you. You are forced to do something you're not necessarily um, you're not okay to do, but you have to do it. And this is by the Hermetic title of the Golden Dawn. The 7 of Swords is the Lord of the unstable effort. And so that tells you a lot about the card, more than Aleister Crowley's title, Hermetic title, which is futility. I actually do prefer the Golden Dawn title because it really gives you a very specific aspect of this card that you know, when you have your own principles and morals, and obviously this is associated to Aquarius 3. It's that kind of card that tells you that you're doing something that you're not necessarily happy about, that it's against your principles, but you kind of had to do it because there is something more important for you to do. And it's not something you're proud of. Let's put it this way. But I really, really enjoy these two together. And then we got the 7 of Pentacles here, of course, in which you're kind of looking ahead in front of you and what you're doing, and your basket is still empty, but you're all ready. You're prepped up for the harvest. And these are pomegranates. Yeah, it looks like pomegranates. And you're kind of pensive and you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is it the right thing to harvest now? Is this the right fruit? And obviously grounding can definitely help you with both these cards, with both of these situations. So by being able to extend your own roots to the ground, the earth, that is our friend, that is our support, you may be able to overcome these kind of situations that are seen as a bit of a challenge in your life. By the way, how beautiful is this tarot card? It reminds me so much of Serafina Pekkala from the trilogy by Philip Pullman, His Dark Materials. Like this is, you know, the Queen of the Witches that flies with her demon, which is I don't remember which type of bird. I'm terrible at these kind of things, but it's a mighty bird. Maybe it's an albatross, but I could be completely wrong. Um, So let me know in the comments below if you like these two together. I was thinking about one last thing. Sorry about that. It's going to be a long video. I told you, I didn't say anything at the beginning because I made it very clear. So let's just put back a few oracle cards in order to level the deck, because I want to pair it up with one last deck. I promise it's not going to be like this for all of the decks, but I wanted to pair it with the Spacious Tarot, which is one of the most beautiful decks that I've got by Carrie Mullen and Annie Raucht. Now, please understand I'm pronouncing this the Dutch way, Raucht, and I could be completely wrong. So Annie, if you're not Dutch, and you pronounce your name in a different way, I am so sorry. It's just that I lived in the Netherlands for so many years. Now it's practically automatic for me to pronounce it the Dutch way. And this is the Spacious Tarot. So the Spacious Tarot is all about, that spacious that is in the title. So it's all about space. We don't have human beings in this deck. We do, however, have animals here and there. We have nature. But what I really like is the sense of indeed space that we get, because humans sometimes may cram the space. They may look like they overcrowd a card. But in this case, it really is free of human influences. And obviously that determines the way in which I read this deck. So look at this card. This is the Amends card, which is so emotive for me. It's so beautiful. I love the way of being able to relate to cards. I love the way in which a card can resonate so much for me that it makes me really feel. And you got the Two of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. And obviously there is that sense of I'm stuck between these two swords. I'm stuck because I don't know what's going to come next. And I can't even find the courage to take one step forward because I'm so worried that whatever I decide, whichever way I decide to pick, is going to be the wrong one, is going to hurt me. But you still have to make amends. You still have to, because you feel that these two hands are stretched. You see how this one is higher in a way than this character's hand. And to me, this means that there is the willpower from this person is actually going to start first. This person is going to start first to make amends. But this second person is going to be following suit immediately. So I really, really love the way that when I pair up an oracle and a tarot deck, and they start talking to each other, and I just listen to the conversation by sitting back and letting these two do their thing, because I really love it so much. These two, I don't know, what do you think about the last three decks? So basically, I paired it up. The first one was the Starseeker Tarot, which is by the same author. The second one was the Maralund Tarot. And this third one is the Spacious Tarot. So let me know in the comments below. I'll be very curious to know which one you actually prefer. Or even if you think that neither one of those decks actually pair up well with this. And let me know if there's any other deck that you think that might pair up well together. I'm thinking, oh, there's a... Okay, sorry, these ones are all upside down because my fault. I put it back upside down. There might be other decks that pair up better with the Oracle. I'm thinking maybe the Star Child Akashi Records. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to show you that deck as well, because otherwise this video is all going to be about the Starseeker Oracle, and it's unfair because I've got so many other decks. In any case, let me know in the comments below. I'll be very curious to know which one do you prefer out of these three. Okay, so I really need to speed it up. Let me just zoom out, because otherwise we're gonna stay here for hours. But this is the Naturescapes Tarot, and these are the backs, by the way, so beautiful. But I have to zoom back in. Sorry about that. I don't know why I thought, oh, I have to zoom out. These are the backs. I ordered it on Make Playing Cards, and I have a lot of tarot bags, so I didn't order. I think there was a possibility to add a bag or maybe even a tin can. I'm not entirely sure. So this is a very affordable deck on Make Playing Cards, and I ordered it at the same time as a different deck that I'm going to show you later. And I just love this deck because what happened was that when everyone else was buying the Flow Tarot, I was looking at the prices and not just the price of the deck itself or just the deck, but if the deck is, for example, about 100 Australian dollars or something like that, there may have been a discount lately on Etsy. The shipping cost, including GST, were something around $75. So as you can imagine, compared to someone that lives in the US, so in any country where the creator is or their Etsy shop is, it's almost as if we were buying two decks for the price of one for us in Australia. So I always have to be very, let's say, convinced about a deck, even when it's a Kickstarter, for example. Though Kickstarter, generally speaking, they do make it so that it's kind of better when it comes to shipping costs, although lately it's been terrible. But in any case, so this is the Naturescapes Tarot. And as I was saying, when everyone else was raving about the Flow Tarot, and I was kind of sad because I couldn't get it. I actually saw this deck. I think I saw it on Marine's channel, Marine from The Waves of Your Soul. She also is the one that introduced the Flow Tarot, but I think that she also showed this one. And I thought to myself, you know what? I actually, this is Machu Picchu. I actually prefer this one because this is, so the Flow Tarot, if you are not familiar with the deck, is absolutely gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. However, it does only focus on one kind of element, which is, as you can imagine by the title, is about water. So it's a very watery deck. And having the Healing Waves as my main watery deck, even though, as I said earlier, I don't necessarily use it because I'm scared of ruining it, I kind of thought that I needed something more complete, let's put it this way. And when I saw this one and I saw the images, I thought to myself, you know what, I really like this one. I think it's going to be very, very good in my collection because I can also pair it up with a number of different decks. And, who am I kidding? Always, when I'm choosing whether to buy a deck or not, I'm always thinking about tarot decks. When it's an oracle deck, I'm thinking about tarot decks to pair it with. If it's a tarot deck, then I'm thinking about oracle decks to pair it with. I love these Two of Swords. Wow. And by the way, it reminds me so much of the Walking Meditations Tarot by Danielle Norman, which is a gorgeous deck that can be used in a number of different ways. But still, Danielle's tarot was based on photographs, and then there was a bit of a work or manipulation, digital manipulation on the cards themselves, so that they don't look ultimately like photographs anymore. And this is a purely photograph deck, and I just absolutely love it. And by the way, if you're not familiar with my channel, I am a very passionate photographer. I've actually also been working in producing a TV show producing here in Australia. We were producing for 4 years a TV show called Snap Happy. And it was all about photography. We were traveling around Australia and catching up with photographers, very famous photographers as well. People who work with Mel Gibson, for example, as well. And they were telling us their story and, they were telling us everything about how to become a good photographer. Photography has always been one of my preferred activities because it goes hand in hand with traveling. But I started taking photos even before I started traveling. And I remember my first professional camera was a fifth hand camera. So not second hand, not third hand, but like fifth hand camera, passed down generation from generation to generation. Yashica. And I just really loved it. I was 14 years old when I got it. I had to, at that time, I was giving out math and English lessons and guitar lessons, and to make enough money to buy it. But you're so proud when you actually achieve something like that. So this is the Naturescapes Tarot, and because I was talking about oracle decks to pair it with, let me just quickly shuffle it because I don't want it to be completely, in order. By the way, I just wanted to show you, I generally edit out the shuffling part from my videos because when I shuffle, I just space out. Does it happen to everyone? Is it just me? And so I don't want people to just have to watch me shuffle for like minutes. This is still a little bit stiff, but you can still bridge and riffle shuffle. If you know my channel, you'll know that I avoid bridge and riffle shuffle because of my injuries. But this is actually a very, so it's a standard size, I would say, but it is that cardstock from Make Playing Cards, which is very smooth, and it really glides. The cards really glides, as you can see. So it's actually quite a pleasure to bridge and riffle shuffle. And I'm also, because it's so very affordable, honestly, I mean, not counting shipping obviously, but it is almost the price, I would say it is the price of a mass market deck. It's an indie deck, obviously, as I was mentioning before. I got it from Make Playing Cards, which is a website where they actually print on demand. So it does take a couple of days to print it. But I'm very happy to say, if you're in Australia, just so you know, Make Playing Cards is using a different shipping company. Don't know what it's called because the box arrived with basically no stamp or anything apart from customs. But it's very quick, so quick. They don't use USPS anymore, or maybe they do, but it's a different kind of service from USPS, because usually USPS takes about 3 weeks to come to Australia from LA, from the western coast of the US. Let's not talk about the eastern coast. But this one came in 1 week. I was really shocked. I was like, is that it? Or did I order something like a month ago that I forgot? But I just wanted to show you, because I was talking about Oracle decks. So I don't know if you're familiar with these three ones. So let me just zoom out for a second there, because you can see them a lot better. So these are three Oracle decks that are based on alchemical elements. So we got the Sea Soul Journey Oracle cards based on water by Pippa Best. Then we've got Liz Dean's Earth Blessings Oracle card, which is obviously based on the alchemical element of Earth, and Chad Foreman's Sky Wisdom based on air. And these are all published by Wellbeck Balance Publications, which is the same publisher as the Dream Ritual Oracle deck. I love these ones, and I heard that they were going to produce a deck that focuses on fire as well, and I can't wait, because I have so many. I do study alchemy, and I have so many spreads in mind that I can use. But, you know, just to show you, and these are very nice because they come with different kind of backings. They're all photography-based decks. And I have to say, I hesitated. So these are mass markets. They're very, very cheap, very affordable, not cheap. They're wonderful and they're very affordable. And I have to say, I hesitated because I remember watching a Tarot Tubers review of this deck, and they were making fun of this deck. They were saying, "Oh, let's look at this one. If you have a camera, you can just go out and make a deck." And I thought to myself, well, okay, this person kind of has a point, because I do take photos and I have professional cameras and stuff, and I have an arsenal of photos, archives and archives of photos, and I could probably make a deck. But then I watched an actual walkthrough, not just a first impression, and I admit that this person, it's one of my favorite tarot tubers, so it's not his fault. It's just that probably it didn't really. It was a first impression, so obviously everyone is entitled to have their first impression. He might have changed his mind afterwards, but when I watched an actual walkthrough, I saw the messages. Okay, so there's a title or a keyword, and there's a message, and I have to say this deck just blew my mind. And then it was the first one that I got, the Sea Soul Journeys Oracle card, and then whenever there's a new one coming out of this series, I actually buy it immediately. So I'm thinking right now, I'm just showing you one, because otherwise, as I said, we're going to be here forever. But just to give you the idea of how well these two pair up together. And, you know, imagine being able to create one deck with all of the alchemical elements and using it, because that will become really well balanced. By the way, sorry, I had zoomed out, but I'm zooming back in. So being able to use that with this tarot deck, it's going to be awesome. And I know that sometimes there is a point, in which you think, is that too much photography? Is there too much? And I don't think there is, because I, for one, actually love photography. I do have a collection of photography books that I collected throughout the years, that I even brought over from, many different countries in which I was buying them. And I have to say, I know that, sometimes you look at the cards and you think it's just landscape. I get it. It's true. Look at this card. Okay. Anyone can take this photo. Well, maybe, maybe not, because there is a long exposure here. But in any case, so you go to even a river, it doesn't have to be the ocean or the sea. Wherever there is a bit of a rock or pebbles, and you set a long exposure, you zoom in and you take this photo. Yes, that's true. But look at the keyword allow. May you soften into what is. Isn't this amazing? I love this because, yes, the rock is allowing the water to smoothen its sharp edges. So I really, really love, and I can assure you, if you like this association of keywords and sentences, you will love these decks. Not just this one, the Seashore Journey, but also the other ones as well. And so I really look forward, now that I finally received the Naturescapes Tarot, I really look forward to pairing it up with the Oracle decks, because as I said, I have so many spreads in mind. I just can't wait to use them. So again, let's move on to the next deck, because otherwise I keep on saying it, but then I'm very, very spending so much time. So as I was saying, make playing cards. So I placed an order for a couple of decks, and obviously they arrived at the same time. And so this one is one of those decks that I have to specify. This is a Annette made me do it. So Annette from the Project Refine Life. She's got a fantastic channel. I love all of her videos. Go check her out and say hi for me. The Narrative Alchemy Tarot from Kristen Bentley. And Chrissy she's fantastic, and she's also uploaded a guidebook to this tarot deck. It's a tarot deck, not an oracle deck. And there's a guidebook there. So let me just open it, because obviously it just arrived yesterday. So all of these decks enter my collection in the last couple of weeks, and I'm kind of thinking, when I hear the doorbell, and I think to myself, okay, which one is this one? And I'm thinking, is that too many? But then, because I have started so many different kind of studies this month, it's a study-rich kind of month. So with my members, we've started studying the deck and walk, and so for that, I had to buy a couple of different books, and I wanted to see a couple of different decks, because I was trying to find a deck that was based on the Golden Dawn's hermetic titles rather than Aleister Crowley's hermetic title. And Aleister Crowley's hermetic titles are the cover most of the Thoth-inspired decks. There's no two ways around that. And so it was difficult, but then I found the hermetic tarot. So even the Tabula Mundi, for example, or the Rosetta tarot decks all have Aleister Crowley's interpretation, let's say, of the hermetic title of the cards, which I don't necessarily agree with. And we've seen that when I've talked about the Seven of Swords. There's a number of other cards. Many cards share the same title, but there's a number of other cards that I actually disagree with. By the way, these are the backs, aren't they just the cutest? Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of those paintings, those 3D paintings when we were kids, that we were like crossing our eyes and trying to make out the 3D coming out of the image, and they all looked like that, from the start. So that reminds me of that, and so many laughs, because it was so much funny. When you're a kid and you're trying and make out the images, it's just so much fun. So if you're not familiar with this deck, it is based on colors, and you also have chakra association with these colors. I love the fact that that I can do this as well, because I have also started this let's say chakra meditation rituals this month, or rather in the month of March. And I really like to do so, and I am a fountain pen inks aficionado, so I really like to find the right colors associations. And by the way, even when it comes to the color association of the deck and walk, as I was explaining to my members the other day, I actually made a choice, which was kind of controversial, to follow the Golden Dawn associations rather than the alchemical associations. So for Aries 1, you will see a soft blue color. And everyone would be like, why didn't you pick the red? Because the Golden Dawn association with the Two of Wands, which is the minor associated with Decan Aries 1, is actually a soft blue. And there's all an explanation behind that choice. But getting back to this deck, because I'm not paying it justice. So this is a gorgeous deck. Why? I know that it's just colors and a keyword, right? But then there's also obviously the association. So you will see from other cards, let's see, because there you go. So you got the alchemical element, you know, a number and an alchemical element. So let's have a look at these two. This with the Roman numbers is referring back to the Roman number associated with the major arcana. So this is major arcana number 3, and it's obviously the Empress. So the Empress, we think about the Empress, we associate the Empress with the color green and with the, I believe it's the Anahata Chakra. Correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. Because I've only just started with the chakra meditation associated with colors. But then we look at the title and the keyword, rather, if you will, and it says flourish. And that is fantastic. And I agree, it's one of the keywords that you can associate with the Empress. But it still gives you something to talk about. It gives you a narrative, it gives you a direction, it sets you in the mood. And this deck is exactly why, this is the reason why I like this deck, because it really gives you one perspective of the deck, or of the card in specific. And you can then build on that. And obviously now we got the process card associated with the 5, and the alchemical element is of water because it is pointing down. It's a triangle pointing down. Now, just to give you a trick, just look at the direction of the triangles. If it's a triangle pointing up, it looks like a flame going up, so that's fire. The opposite of fire is water, so the triangle pointing down is water. When it's a triangle pointing up with a line across it is another element that is pointing up, which is air. And the opposite is earth, which is a triangle pointing down with an arrow across. Not an arrow, sorry, with a line across. So the 5 of cups, basically, the 5 of water, is a process. And I really like this idea. Why is it a process rather than a loss? Because you're processing the circumstances, you're processing what has happened. So I really, really like it. And as you notice, as you can see as well, the chord cards are also numbered. So I have to say that there's not much numerological association with the chord cards, because the chord cards go after number 10. And as you know, when you read numerologically, after number 10, you kind of have to sum up the 2 digits. But in this case, it's just a reference. So obviously it gives you the way to reference back to know which one of the chord cards we're looking at. So in this case, it's number 14 of the chord cards, which is the King. And as we've seen before, it's the Cups, Suto Cups. So the King of Cups has as a keyword replenish, which is also fantastic. So we've got the 9 of Swords in here, and we got the rumination element associated, or keywords associated to that. And so ruthless with the 5 of Swords, and so on and so forth. Separation with the 5 of Pentacles, because obviously this is the earth element. And separation is fantastic as a keyword for the 5 of Pentacles, because to me, it's the moment in which you're left out in the cold. And so you're kind of exiled, you're separated from whatever kept you warm in your past. So you have to reckon with that. Solitude for the Hermit. So If you had any doubts whether this was easy or not to read with, as you can see, you do need some kind of a knowledge because you need to know, for example, the alchemical symbols for the four elements. And you obviously need to know the association with the majors and the Roman numbers. But to be honest with you, the keywords are a great help. And you can create a bridge between your knowledge of alchemy and numerology and the keywords of the tarot, because this is loosely based on the interpretation of the RWS. So for example, in this case, we got the King of Pentacles with ease, because ease just the King of Pentacles is the one that actually masters all of the practical skills. Or let's say equilibrium for the Justice card, which is obviously the two dishes of the justice, the personification of justice, or fruition with the Ten of Pentacles, for example, and so on and so forth. Or even in this case, we got a Six of Cups, which is maturation. And it's kind of counterintuitive because maturation, or rather, the Six of Cups for me is referring back to going back into a past that kind of it gives you solace. It gives you that kind of sense of being safe because you find yourself after a loss and you need to reckon with that loss. And so you're out of energy, you're out of hope sometimes. And so getting back, finding refuge into the past and the nostalgia of the past, because it was a simpler past. It was a simpler time when you didn't have so much to worry about, and the mortgage and the lease on the car, and the family and the fur babies and all of these things, and life in general. But this maturation, because it is always read in a sequence, so I also read the cards in a sequence, in the sense that I always keep in mind what's before and what's after. So in the Six of Cups, you can already find the invitation to mature, because you have to make a choice in the Seven of Cups. I realize that I am talking way too much if I want to be quicker. So in any case, this is a fantastic deck. And I was just wondering, I don't need to, well, I kind of do. So let me just shuffle it for a second. Okay, so I just wanted to try something. So humor me for a second. I need to zoom out this time. Because I do have an Oracle deck, which is very similar as a concept to this one. And it's called the Oracle, the Mage Oracle. And no, sorry, it's called the Color Mage. Sorry about that. It's called the Color Mage. By the way, good news. Thanks to Benny, who's one of my members at the Fool's Apprentice. So basically, this deck, which is a chunky deck because it's got 109 cards. It's an oracle that has been produced a few years ago, and it was so sought after. It went out of print. There were no other prints made. And apart from one with additional cards, which is the one that I have, and it was hard to find. Everyone was asking for ridiculous prices for it. And now the news is it's actually going to go mass market. So I don't know what edition will go mass market. I don't know, because there is an edition of this deck that has only, I think, 78 cards. I could be wrong. So I don't know. I just felt because the Color Mage also has the same kind of association with colors and keywords, I thought to myself, is this going to pair well? And as you notice, generally speaking, I actually put the Tarot on the sides and the Oracle in the middle. But right now, I feel like doing this. So I don't know whether we want to use the chakra association, perhaps, or use the keywords to expand upon them as if it was an oracle deck, and then look into the other cards. I don't know whether it's working or not. See, this is the beauty of improvising. I feel that it's working when it comes to the color associations, because I really like that there's like a color palette in front of you, but I'm not entirely sure. So we got here, for example, the card number 2 in the Arcanas, which is the High Priestess, with origin as a keyword. And then we got Spirit with the Hero's Journey, and Pink Gare with courageous and sexuality. I kind of see it though. I kind of see it. Let's see, maybe a different card. By the way, in some of these cards, unfortunately, when the print is white on a light color, I actually cannot read it. So I think this says sacrifice, but I'm not entirely sure. So we got the 7 of fire, so the 7 of wands, which is protection. Because in the 7 of wands, you're protecting your ideals, basically. You're standing up to the others. I like that they've chosen protection rather than resilience, because resilience to me is more like related to the 9 of wands. It'd be interesting to see if they use resilience as a keyword for the 9 of wands. In any case, you're protecting your ideals against everyone else's opinion because they're all against you. And we've all been there, and we know we're right. We know we're right. This reminds me a lot of the energy of the Knight of Air, so swords, because it's a very similar kind of energy, even though it's two different suits. And obviously, the Knight of Swords is more related to the protecting an ideal, and in here, you're protecting your action. It's very corporeal. It's very factual. So we see the sacrifice. So you're sacrificing yourself to protect what you've done, to stick to your guns, basically. And with the Ruby Rose, loving your soul path, that is an excellent reading. That definitely makes sense. It's something that, you sacrifice yourself in order to protect your soul path. So perhaps there is something to it. And I'm going to be very curious to use these two together, perhaps in different combination, perhaps for meditation, not necessarily for, divination. I don't really see these two for divination, but you never know. I love it when the colors actually work out like this because, it's almost as if it were an additional way to link these two decks together. So in any case, this one is the Narrative Alchemy Tarot, and this is the Color Mage Oracle. And as I said, this Oracle deck is actually going to be reprinted mass market. And it's going to be really exciting to see what they're going to do with it. If it's going to be with the same number of cards, which is 109 for the edition that I've got. But it could be the 78 or the thinner deck. Then what else? Because I've got so many decks, I really should speed up here. And I know I keep on saying this, so let me just zoom out a little bit and take stock of what I've got left, which is still a fair bit. So, okay, now we're gonna have a look at this one. So this is a combination, okay? So this is a new deck, a new Oracle deck published by Rockpool by Cersei Sinach. And sorry, Cersei, if I'm mispronouncing your name. It's a very Gaelic name. I have started trying and understand how to pronounce Gaelic, but it's very difficult for me. But in any case, it's the Anam Cara. I actually checked out how to pronounce this, and it's definitely Cara, not Cara. I probably pronounced it wrong the first couple of times I was talking about this deck. But I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be perfect to pair it up with the Joie de Vivre Tarot by Paulina Cassidy, who now goes by the name Paulina Fay? I don't know. I mean, in my mind, it worked, and I don't know if it does or not. As I said, this is a new Oracle deck. I think that it's been released this week. If not this week, maybe next week. Let's just try, because I did not have the Joie de Vivre. I had several, like the animal spirit. I had the Phantom Wise, the Paulina Tarot, and there's a couple of oracles as well, which is really beautiful. Paulina is a very prolific author, and I believe all of the decks are actually printed or published by US Games, if I'm not wrong. And this one is an older release because the deck is already a bit damaged, unfortunately. 2011. You know what? It's fine. I mean, obviously 2011, we're talking about 13 years ago, so what can I expect? You know what I mean? It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I bought a new though, as you can see, because it was all wrapped up and it's still wrapped up inside. So very excited about checking out whether I was right or not when thinking that these two would pair up well together. So let me put away the cutter because we don't want it loose. It's not exactly the safest instrument. So the Anam Cara Oracle. Anam Cara. See what I did? So the Anam Cara Oracle, very beautiful, really gorgeous orange. It's an orange rose. It's an orange pink kind of orange gilding, glossy. So this deck is full of life. That's the first thing that I feel like saying about this. And it's got a really beautiful art style, and it comes with titles, Life Flame, for example, but also with sentences or messages at the bottom of the card. For example, for Life Flame, we got Spark that brings all matter to life. I am divine and I am human. In both, I bloom. So it's a kind of an affirmation, and I really, really enjoy it. The guidebook, by the way, has got a soft linen feel to it. And it's well done. It's in color, so you got a thumbprint of the card, so you got the title, you got the message as well. And then it's a conversational kind of description. It's a conversational kind of description because it feels like you're having a conversation with one of your friends. And I really love that about this. It makes it a soft kind of deck, but also a trustworthy kind of deck. And then you got an action that is a suggestion. And I really love to pull the cards and just have a look at what the suggestion, what the action is. But also, I really, really enjoy the art style. So let's have a look together because this is really, so I need to shuffle both of them. I'll be right back. Okay, so now that I've shuffled both of them, let's have a look at how they pair up together. I'm so excited about this. So you're literally my guinea pigs in the sense that I'm trying and see with your reaction. Just let me know in the comments below if you think that these two are compatible, if they complement each other, if they coexist in the same space. I don't know. So we got Crone with such mysteries I hold, but as one we build the story whole. Oh, that's so nice. And I love that she's being transported by a turtle, obviously the symbol of longevity. Between the Five of Cups and the Six of Swords, okay, wow. Yes, I think so. We've got from the Five of Cups is, it's a mystery as well. It's something that you have to leave behind because it's obviously spilled and it's broken and you lost it. Okay, it is that kind of loss. But it's also the kind of loss that tells you, hey, don't focus on that. Turn your head and look in front of you because you still have at least 2 out of 5 that are still upright. They're not broken, they're flourish, and they're actually blooming. So it's being able to accept the fact that you have lost something, but also rejoice to the fact that you still have something left. And that's, I believe, approaching the crone years, that's all about accepting that you lost your youth years. And you're kind of accepting that you're going towards the last years in your life. I'm not at the crone stage yet, but growing old is part of that. And I love the fact that it still feels like it's a bit of a journey you didn't necessarily want to do because you're like, well, do I really have to? And yet you do feel that you're going towards a better place. I love this. So far, I think it's working. So let me just flip the cards a little bit and see whether, aesthetically they look at this. It looks like they this to me looks like a Little Red Riding Hood and the wolf. The story, and maybe not, but it really gives me those kind of vibes. So it's called Depth. Under your fear is the court of strength. To your song I answer in a prayer. Oh, that's so sweet. That's really lovely. And you got the 10 of Wands and the 4 of Swords, and I really love that because this looks like almost the same character, doesn't it? I don't know. I feel like these two are actually, they kind of coexist in the same space. Am I crazy? So in any case, I really look forward to work with this. See, it does look like it's a very similar kind of art style. The characters look very similar one to the other. Obviously not the same. I do kind of feel like the borders are chunky. And at first I thought maybe they have, this is a Triskellis. I have one somewhere. I can't see it anymore. But it's a traditional Celtic symbol, and I thought, oh, maybe there's different symbols, but no, it's all of the cards with this. So I don't. I understand the decoration, but to be honest with you, I would have preferred less chunky borders, and maybe the sentences could be, inside the image of the card. But it's fine. I mean, come on, it's a mass market deck. It's very, very affordable deck as well. Some of the cards are quite strong. You can see here with wounds, rest in you, spirit, so I can heal and see through the storm. And I don't know about you, but there is this sense of the story, the fable, which one is it that leaves the shoe behind? Is that Cinderella? I think it's Cinderella. So leaving the shoe behind on the stairwell between the Queen of Wands, which is a performer, so it obviously brings you back to that idea of being on stage, and the Nine of Coins. Masterpiece. Crossroads. Oh, I love that. I love that they chose a chameleon for the crossroads. Choice. It may not be. When there are too many, I see what's best. That's beautiful. So obviously the chameleon has got the possibility to change at will the color of the skin, basically. But I need to choose the right one, obviously, to mimetize within the background. I love that. I don't know. What do you think? Am I crazy? I feel that there are, well, definitely not this one. This is a kind of a different style to the rest, though. You, in the shadows we share, all candles are bright. Yeah, by the way, there's also the Sabbath Hero Stara, as you can see. I don't know whether it's just the main ones, Elite. Obviously, I didn't do a great job in shuffling the deck, maybe. But I love this. I think it actually, it does have that kind of conversation. There is that kind of exchange of words between these two decks. Also, it is kind of whimsical, which is one of the characteristics that I would say. Look at the leprechaun. Come on, look at the leprechauns. Can you see the leprechauns? How cute are they? So you can see, a bit of that whimsical element in both the decks, not just the Anam Cara, but also the Joie de Vivre. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think about this pairing. And if you have a different deck you think about that could pair well with the Anam Cara, let me know. Because as you know, I just love working, integrating the pairing of two decks, not necessarily Oracle and Tarot, but two decks or even three decks together in my practice. Is something that actually enriches my practice as well. So I really enjoy that. Now, let's go to these two because I really need to speed up because I've been talking for over an hour. So these two new decks. These two are another Annette made me do it. Specifically, Annette showed this pairing. And I had already reached out to a friend of mine for the Self-Love Tarot, but I didn't necessarily know which Oracle deck, let's say, to pair it with. And when I saw Annette doing this pairing, I really loved it. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to try it as well. And I have to say, it really works. So the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck, by the way, this one is the mass market edition, but I know that it was originally published indie. And apparently, I seem to remember Don Michelle probably making a comparison side by side. And I think she was noticing that there's actually different, not many, but a few different cards on the two decks. So I only have the mass market, so I cannot tell you. But if you want to check out Don Michelle's channel, I'm sure you all know Don Michelle, but if you want to check out her comparison video, I don't know whether it was just for us weavers, or maybe for all the subscribers. Apologies, I actually don't remember. So in any case, this deck is amazing. I just have to say something about the self-love tarot. There is nudity, however, it is stylized. It is, let's say, not starting with the first card in which there's a naked person. It is stylized nudity. The principle, the concept of the self-love tarot is to be able to accept ourselves the way we are. And so it's not an aggressive kind of nudity, which I don't necessarily enjoy. It's not a sexualized kind of nudity. It's not a weaponized nudity. And I'm not saying that there's a lot of decks out there that do that, but some of them unfortunately do. This is the kind of nudity that just tells us we accept who we are, because you can try and hide it, but there's no two ways around this. Sooner or later, you'll have to accept it. And so I actually really enjoy that. Not enjoy in the sense that it's something that I would probably also do without. But it's because it is confronting at times, because you look at these, so it's mainly women, I think. I seem to remember. But you know, as you can tell, it is as it is. Not using any kind of mask, not using any kind of filter, and it is also liberating in a way. So pairing it up with the Wild and Sacred, what's the title? The Wild and Sacred Feminine deck. Annette pairs it up in our channel, Project Refine Life, and I just absolutely love the way she relates the cards together, because I think that it's perfect. I think that it's a fantastic way to use these two really powerful decks that could be used, you know, by themselves, because you don't necessarily need. So the Self-Love Tarot, for example, I use it in a particular way in my practice, and it's the kind of use that induces self growth, because you're accepting your kind of facing your fears of acceptance. We're talking about the crony years, for example, and the way in which we have to accept that life has a beginning and also has an end. And so, but it requires a little bit of self-care. And so these two together, they give you a very complete experience, let's say. And I really love that. I also love the references in the Oracle deck, because they bring you back to, for example, Inanna with the wholeness, or the archetype of the wolf with mastery. You know, it's not just about titles, it's also about the keywords and the what they inspire you to read out of those cards, and the way in which you're also inspired to see a bridge between these two decks. So kudos to Annette, because I did not know what to pair the Self-Love Tarot with, but I think that this is a fantastic choice, and I really, really enjoy these two decks together. And so moving on, because otherwise, as I said, we're going to stay here for hours. It's been already over an hour. But there's so many decks, and you know, I hope that this is not difficult to or making anyone feel uncomfortable. I do get a lot of decks in some cases for review, for example. In some cases, there are gifts. In most of cases, I actually purchase them out of my pocket, and I do. This is part of my practice. It's part of my channel as well, and it is something that has been part of my life in different measures, obviously throughout many, many years. And I am a collector as well as a reader. And so getting in decks every month, first of all, it gives me a possibility to build up on these videos, because obviously they reach a lot of people, and you know, I always appreciate that, and I appreciate your comments, and whenever you want to share something with me about a deck that I showed, for example, it's always welcome, always very much appreciated, because the reason why I'm here is to build meaningful connections. But it's also true that I do a lot of rehoming videos, one a month, because now I used to do more than that, but now I just consolidate everything in one video, rehoming video per month. And it is one of the perks of my membership program to give access to my members first, so they can actually reach out to me whether they see a deck that I want to acquire in their collection. And then I also release it to all of my subscribers, but generally speaking, by then all of the decks are gone. But as I was saying, I am a collector, so I'm not scared to admit that. I do have hundreds of decks. And I'm not ashamed of that. But I do understand that, you do you. So if this is making you in any way uncomfortable, this is not the concept of these videos. It's not to inspire FOMO. It's not to push people to buy decks. As a matter of fact, I always say I put the links to these decks when they're available in the description box below, not for you to buy them, but for you to be able to check them out. If you wanted to make an informed decision whether you want to buy them or not. Now, going through the last, fortunately, it's only 3 decks left. Thank goodness, because otherwise this video goes on forever. This is another, Annette made me do it, and there's like 5 decks in here that belong to her collection, and I saw in her channel first, although I did have my eyes on this deck before. So this is the Creative Consciousness Healing Oracle deck. It's a long title, and it's for self-healing and self-care by Joanna Wright. I love this deck. It's published by Andrews McNeil. It's a 44 full color cards, and it's got an illustrated guidebook. It is not available in Australia on Amazon, but you can get it from Amazon UK. And I'm pretty sure that it's pretty much available on Amazon US. If you're based in the US, Amazon. Well, in any case, I'll put the link in the description box below, as I said before. So you'll be able to check it out for yourself and decide whether you want to reach out for it or not. I have to say that it's a large deck. It's an Oracle deck, but it's a large deck. It's a mass market one. It's so big that, just to give you an example, with the usual size of Oracle decks, for example, the one published by Rockpool, which is rather large. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell because obviously purple on black background doesn't really show. So it's taller and wider, not a lot wider, a fair bit taller. So it's a big deck. Now let's have a look at the cardstock is rather, I don't want to say stiff, but this is rather thick. So the result, the tactile experience to it is a little bit stiff. And I already see, so not that I'm going to complain or anything, but you see here, I was going to say, this is one of the cardstock that actually bends the cards. And truth be told, I don't know if you can see. No, I don't think you can. Do you see this here? I was going to talk about cards possibly being bent. And there you go, you got a bend. It doesn't matter. I just wanted to point it out just because it was funny that it was a coincidence. I was literally going to say that next, and I saw that card when I was thinking about it. So this is the guidebook. Annette was talking about the guidebook, and that was one of the reasons why I actually finally convinced myself to push the buy button. It is in black and white, which is fine. It is an affordable deck. And it does have a full page of the card. It's got a key concept: creative visualization and journal prompt. I love it when decks actually give me the possibility to expand on my practice, because, and I do say that mostly when it comes to Oracle decks, it is true that for a tarot deck, to be in my collection, it just needs to be a collectible item or a beautiful deck, because generally speaking, I am very familiar, I'm very cozy with using decks, tarot decks in any kind of practice, whether it's meditation, self-growth, divination, or any kind of practice. But when it comes to Oracle decks, I really appreciate it when they come with an expansive kind of book, because it gives you an idea on how to use the cards. And this one gives me the idea that because it is this big, that it's kind of an altar deck, you know what I mean? Like you just pull one card perhaps in the morning each day, and you do your kind of meditation about the card. and you use it and you put it on your altar or on your card stand or just close to your working space. You do whatever you want to keep it close to you, and you kind of focus on this card throughout the day. And that's why I actually really appreciate this deck. I absolutely love the images as well. They're very kind. There's something compassionate about these images. They're very gentle. There's no sharp colors. There's no excessive saturation or clash between colors. We do have a lot of dark background kind of cards, which is fine, but I'm just thinking, I hope you can see them through the lens, because as I was saying before, it is a kind of a gloomy day today. I love the association of colors as well, because this color palette is very soothing. This lavender, this light pastel pinks, you know, and the sage green, for example, or the teal blue. So I really, really love this deck, and I can't wait to start reading with this. I can't wait to start, you know, working with this deck. And you know what? Let's just pull a card. I'm just gonna quickly shuffle it. Okay, let's just pull a card, and then I want to go to the guidebook and have a look. Let's make it this one. Okay, grounding. That's the second time that I focus on the word grounding today. Rooting in the power of your purpose. Let's have a look. So it's got a number, which is always helpful. And, you know, it's number 3. So let's go directly to number 3. Which is here. So grounding, key concept, grounding, centering self, earth power, purpose. It's easy to become ungrounded when circumstances and emotions become overwhelming. By the way, side comment, we are in Mercury retrograde, and I know if you feel it, but air signs feel it more than others in this case, and it just air and fire signs. And it's just, to be honest with you, it felt, especially last week, I had so many problems filming. There is one video that I just, there is the, it was a VR to Thea from the Garden Goddess Tarot about black and white decks. It's a video that I really cared about because I actually love black and white decks. I was showing all of the decks I've got in my collection other than the ones Thea showed. And I really cared about that video, and I uploaded it, everything was fine. And then when you view it, after half an hour, it goes black, and it just keeps on going. It doesn't stop. It keeps on going, but you have no video and no images and no audio. And I tried to contact the technical support center from YouTube because my original video is perfect. I tried to re-upload it and it's still corrupted. And so there's gotta be something that scrambles the video. I cannot do anything about it. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me. But it's, you know, you can probably think that it's a coincidence that this is the first thing that the first time that happened throughout all my 200 plus videos. But it is the first time that happens. And is that a coincidence that it happens during a Mercury retrograde? I think not. I think not. Anyway, thank you for all of you that made really nice and also funny comments, because they really cheered me up, because I felt really, really awful. And in any case, we'll see. If it doesn't, you know, if it doesn't work, then I'm just gonna take it out and probably have to refilm it, but it's okay. So going back to the card, if your instinct is to zone out, disengage, or numb out, this card can be a helpful practice to bring you back to your body and your sense of self. There's no one just like you in the whole universe. And then it's got a creative visualization, which is very interesting. Feel your body in the room, feel your feet. Imagine your feet are growing gorgeous purple vines. Okay, that could be creepy, sorry. They're reaching through the earth to a place of pure magic. Feel the magic and power of your purpose. You don't have to know what your purpose is, just feel the deep support and magic climbing through the vines and into your feet. That's something that we do at yoga, this kind of visualization with our eyes closed. in a Shavasana position. The vines reach down deeper and deeper into the earth with every moment. As the vines reach an incredible depth, you see a seed. The seed sprouts something magical that connects you to your purpose. Watch for a minute as you see it grow. What do you see? Spend some time watching as it grows and changes. Purple vines flow through the bottoms of your feet, bringing up their magic all through your body. Allow the magic to climb up from the center of the earth and flow upward through your legs, your torso, your whole body. Feel the power of that magic. It's okay to relax and let it in. You are infinitely safe and guided. And as a journal prompt, it says, ask the magic seed, what are you growing? What messages do you have for me? How can I cultivate you? Try writing the answer quickly. Allow whatever the seed says to be expressed and felt. That's a really beautiful thing, and I'm definitely looking forward to use this deck in my meditation practice. So that was the Creative Conscious Healing Oracle cards. And we're almost at the end, so I'm actually going to show you 2 decks together, or actually rather 3. So let me just quickly zoom out because I need to make sure that we have enough room. So I'm just going to open them up as well. Okay, they don't all fit, so I'm just going to show you these 2 first. So this is the very well-known The Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, and the text is by Jessica Macbeth. This is not the out-of-print deck. It's still in print. It's a mass market deck. It's very popular. The other deck is The Heart of the Fairies, which is actually in my wish list. I have been looking for that deck forever, but every time that I found a used copy, because it's out of print now, the sellers want so much money for it, and I just can't justify the expense, especially because there is this deck, and I've heard, so obviously not having it, I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but I've heard that the guidebook is actually a lot better in this one here, which is still available, rather than the out of print deck. So I'm very excited to get into this. This is a really nice book, with a hardback and everything. Wow, that's really beautiful. I don't know the other book. I've honestly never seen it. So it's kind of bichromatic, but I really, really like it. Very beautiful. Really looking forward to get in, working with this deck. And also, I have to say, I have so many boxes around me right now. I have to say, I actually love the backs of this deck. More than the backs on the other one, because obviously I do watch walkthroughs. So these are reversible. Look at that. Okay. The cardstock, I have to say, is very papery. It feels very thin. Not entirely sure that it's a good cardstock, but in any case. So as you can imagine, if you know anything about Brian Froud's work, it is very fairy/alien-like. So there's different kind of fairies, and obviously you have many decks. Oh my goodness, how many fairy decks are there? I don't even know. I mean, there's fairy that are really, let's say, different from us, and that's what I would think about when I think about alien fairy. And there's fairies that are more like, like a Tinkerbell kind of fairy, which is more relatable or recognizable more than relatable. And then there's Victorian fairies. Look at this one, for example. This to me looks like a bit like an alien. And like keyword is honesty, which I really, really like, and I'm curious about. Oh, look at this one, for example. Does this look like Jar Jar Binks to you? I don't want to ruin this card for everyone, but is it just me? It looks like Jar Jar Binks. Anyway, some others, so they're so different one from the other. Look at these two. Look at these 2 cards. I mean, yes, we're in the realm of the fairies, obviously, but these 2 look so different because this is at least human-like, and this is not. And so it's a very interesting deck. And I have to say, I'm so very excited that I finally convinced myself to get this deck, because I've been looking for the art of the fairies forever. And because I was still convinced that I could finally find it, I never reached out for this deck. But now I kind of accepted that the art of the fairy is too difficult for me to find. And so I'm happy that I purchased the Fairies Oracle because it was affordable. It's a mass market. The book is amazing, I've been told. It's a very good quality for when it comes to the book. The card's a bit less, but then again, it's fine, absolutely fine. It was 27 Australian dollars, so I can't complain. And then I got The Fairy Forest by Lucy Cavendish, and the artwork is by Maxine Gadd. An Oracle of the Wild Green World. This is published by Blue Angel, if I'm correct. Yes, it is. And I'm actually looking forward to trimming this deck, because I don't know where, I don't remember, because I always give credit when credit is due, but I need to remember where I've seen it. I've seen someone on Instagram, I'm pretty sure that it was on Instagram, that was actually trimming down this deck to just either the internal borders or just the artwork. I think it was just the artwork. And I thought to myself, this is going to work. This is really going to be popping. You know, the color's going to be popping. The image is going to be popping when you trim the borders off. Again, this is a mass market deck. Blue Angel decks are cheaper in Australia than they are overseas. So this one was extremely affordable to me. It was like 20 Australian dollars. It's not out of print, it's readily available. And so I feel like, you know, I don't feel bad about trimming it. By the way, these are the bags. How cute are they? I love these bags. We got a witch, and we got a fairy, but a gnome looking fairy. We got a black cat. We got the door on the tree. Really, really nice. It is a, let's say, a soft velvety kind of cardstock. Makes me feel like it's going to be difficult to fan out, but it's fine. Perhaps this will change when I'm going to trim it, because it obviously is going to be smaller. And so you might ask, why did you get this deck? Because this deck has been available for years. This is not a recent publication, and the reason is that I'm actually looking forward to the study. So I am a member of the Unicorn family, which is Lisa Pepe's membership program. And we, for the study, for the deck study, we're going to have a look at the Witch Sister Tarot by Julia Jeffrey. And everyone is so excited about this deck, because this is the second deck, at least in my collection, at least that I know of, by Julia Jeffrey. The first one was the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. You may be familiar with that. They're both being published by Llewellyn. And as always, Llewellyn is fantastic product value, because look at this box. I mean, let me just make some room here, because otherwise we're not going to be able to see anything. And I may possibly zoom out. Nope, I'm all zoom out. So the Witch Sister Tarot, with the book that comes with it, which is, by the way, fantastic. Look at that. It's amazing. It's got a lot of material that, you know, that can represent your deep dive of the deck. But so we were talking about this deck, and everyone agrees that it's got fairy energy, and I agree as well. I also believe that it's got fairy kind of energy, even though it is less of a fairy deck than the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, because the Hidden Realm was specifically about fairies. But this one feels a little bit like that as well. And then I had an idea. And I thought to myself, okay, but what if it's not necessarily, it does have the fairy vibes, but what if it's got a different kind of vibe, like maiden, mother crone kind of vibe? And so I thought about pairing it up, and I'm just going to show you quickly, with this deck, which is the Maidens of the Wheel Oracle, which is also by Blue Angel. Tammy Wampler is the author of this deck. And I just absolutely love the way these two together. There's something very deep in using these two decks together. They're really, really gorgeous. They share a lot of the expressions on the portraits, because obviously these are really close up of characters, of course, in both the decks, not just the tarot. And I feel that there's a lot of echoes between these cards. There's resonances. There's this kind of conversation that is actually, being developed between the characters. And there is this kind of intensity of the gaze of the characters, that really, those really piercing eyes that sometimes they look at you, sometimes they look away, sometimes they look at each other. And I just absolutely love looking at these two together. And so I was really, really happy when I paired these two up together. But then I felt like somehow I was kind of missing out on that part of the Witch Sister Tarot that does have those kind of fairy vibes. And that's the reason why I decided to go ahead and buy this deck. So the Fairy Forest, which is, by the way, I didn't mix it up, shuffle it, but it's fine. And so just for you to see what I mean, I just put back a few cards just to level it up. And I don't say that I didn't warn you that this was going to be a really long video, but I have good news for you. This is the last. These are the last decks, so hang in there. And guys, I love, I love talking. I love actually long videos. Whenever I'm watching a tarot tuber, I always hope for a long video because I just love it. These two are perfect together. I just can feel it now. It's a very powerful bond that they're creating. Really, really beautiful. And I'll be very excited when I will have done the modification of this deck. So I basically plan on trimming it down just to the artwork. I really don't feel like we need all of these frames, to be honest with you. I kind of get it that sometimes it's beautiful to have a frame, but I really want to pair it up with the Witch Sister, which is a borderless deck. So obviously you will want to have a bit of an accessibility between the three cards. Now, just out of curiosity, because I did buy the other one as well, so let me just try and see if the Brian Froud deck, which is this one here, and I probably do need to shuffle it for a moment. Okay, so here we go. So by the way, I was shuffling and the battery ran out, even though I'm actually using a power bank. That was funny, but it serves me right for talking for so long. So this is the Brian Froud paired up with the Witch Sister Tarot. I love that there's two children. The maiden. Well, there you go. It does give me that kind of idea. The moon child. It's beautiful. So I don't have the heart of a fairies, and I do watch videos, and I feel like you would probably pair even better. But if you do, could you please let me know? Because I may put out an ISO in the tarot community with the caveat that I cannot spend the prices that they're asking for it. But sometimes people are kind, and that's what I find. That sometimes, it's not all about the money. It's also about having the possibility to make someone enjoy the deck if you're not enjoying it anymore. So that's one of the reasons why I do rehoming, is because if a deck is just not being honored and not being used, I'm pretty happy to pass it on to someone that will use it. Wow, okay. That's very intense. See, any deck that has this kind of very intense kind of portraits, I feel that it will pair up really well. Well, there you go. You got the death between renewal and the sun. Yes, of course. That's the sense of the cycle of life, basically. So really, really beautiful, these as well. But as for the first deck I talked about, which one was it? I forgot. So yeah, the Star Seeker Oracle. I tried 3 different decks. So in this case as well, I tried 3 different decks. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one do you actually prefer out of these 3? And if you do have the Hearts of a Fairy by Brian Frau, let me know if you think that it's actually worth reaching out for, because I just love how these 2 work together. They're really, really great. Oh no! Oh, this card is completely bent. Oh, gee, okay. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Well, it was a new deck, so I don't know how this could have happened. Perhaps in production, sometimes it happens, you know? It's a pity, but it's fine. I'm not fussy about these kind of things. I mean, it's absolutely fine. And yeah, let me know. As I said, let me know in the comments below. I am very, very interested in knowing your opinion. If there's another deck you think I should pair the Witch Sister Tarot with, then let me know as well. That's so beautiful. The Fairy Godmother with the Queen of Skies, which is the Queen of Swords, and the Five of Stars, which is the Five of Pentacles. So beautiful, so intense. And as you can see, the Witch Sister Tarot is not 100% an RWS card, so you kind of had to work your way around the book a little, which is always welcome. So that was it for today. And if you're still here, you're a trooper. Thank you so much for being with me till the end of this video. More to come. Have a great day.